All right, guys, we got a lot of stuff to talk about here in today's video. Obviously, we got the Knowhere Heist rewards. They're currently live in the game right now. And got to say, a little disappointed, of course, based on the numbers that are calculated so far. We're going to talk about that here in this video. We got the GameInformer article as well by Brian Shea, which shed some light, I would say, on the player base's sentiments right now, and kind of also shed some light on where we probably think the state of the game is. And we're definitely going to talk about the state of the game, where we think it is right now. And then we'll also wanted to talk about, sort of what I think, and where we think that Scopely can improve, or Boundless Entertainment can improve right now, to essentially recover the game and where it is right now. But obviously, to do that with me, you guys are probably wondering who's the little voice icon over there. That's King Valdris, one of my mods, but also one content creator as well, fellow content creator in the community. Valdris, how you doing, brother?
Man, we are doing great this morning. How about yourself?
Not too bad. I wish we had some better rewards in Knowhere Heist, man. What are your overall thoughts on it? First and foremost, I'm just disappointed. I don't know about you. Like, how did you feel when you first saw what the rewards looked like for Knowhere Heist?
So I am thoroughly disappointed. Sure, it's an Elite 7 up front that you get if you complete all 7 tiers, but at what cost?
Yeah.
What are you doing to your roster or what are you not going to be doing to your roster that, you now have an Elite 7?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, because it's like, sure, like if you leveled up your roster, upgraded it, and you got all the characters to gear tier 15, then on the first run, you'll get a decent amount of gold orbs, you'll get a decent amount of trainer mats, right? You'll get that full Elite 7. Promo credits, I think it's like 700 or like 600 to 700 promo credits that you get, but you also just spent some valuable carbonadium into Star-Lord and G14 tech gear that we know they're going to screw us at some point in time, right? And bring out some tech team that you're going to need it for. So, like, the first time rewards are okay, but I mean, and now I got it for transparency, right? You were one of the players that upgraded all your characters prior to the event. So, like, how much does that put you back right now in terms of like other things that you need on your roster? Does that upset you? Just it's in the fact that, hey, the rewards just aren't that good. At least the recurring ones aren't that good.
Absolutely. So you're right. I did upgrade early because I wanted to be ready for the event. And as a content creator, we always want to put out this content for everybody to see. Hey, right, this is what it is. But at the end of the day, I had 3 out of the 5 characters at gear 12.
Yep.
So I had 9 levels to go, 2 of which were tech. I'm now out of tech minis for 14 and 15. I'm out of bio minis that I was using to upgrade my gear 16.
You just brought like a few web warriors, right, to Dark Dimension 5. So you already kind of depleted already.
Yes, and I mean it's disappointing. I've held on to a lot of gear like catalysts.
Yeah.
For a long time, DD2, DD3, DD4. I've held on to thousands and thousands of catalysts. I have never been at a point where I can click on a piece of gear and the only thing I'm missing is catalysts. And that's what this event did. They picked the most expensive characters in my mind with catalysts, and they said, hey, here we go.
Yeah, you're right, because Star-Lord is quite expensive. So is Invisible Woman is pretty pricey as a character in general. So definitely hurt there. And like I said, let's talk about the recurring rewards, right? Like, that's really where it gets astronomical. So we talked about what you're going to get for the first time, but the math on this is stupid crazy. So for Elite 7, right, for an Elite 7 orb, or for if you already get all the way through the first time, right, for an Elite 7 orb, do you know how long it takes for you to get another full Elite 7 orb after completing the event and doing this event coming around every month? Do you know how long it takes?
Yes, I do. So I was actually doing the math yesterday when it came out. So 2,500 per orb. Yep. So you're able to do it 7 times. So you get 210 fragments per orb takes you 11.9 months. So you get one Elite 7 in a calendar year. The ends don't justify the means. You could stop at tier 5 and be fine.
Right. And then on top of that as well, like it's super RNG. So it's like, okay, well, here, I got a full Elite 7 orb after 11 to 12 months now of a build up. And then, oh yeah, guess what? Here's Shocker, or here is like Hydra Scientist, some crap.
A monstrosity.
Boy, would that feel bad? It's like, what the hell, bro?
I went 12 calendar months to get Shield Operative, which I already have, so it would be a dupe.
That's insanely stupid. And then the dark promo credits on top of that, those are better. I actually pulled up this Reddit article. And in the Reddit article, it talks about how, you know, you can get a 5 red star Ultron after just 2 years with the Knowhere Heist event. So essentially, you get 105 DPCs. DPCs are dark promo credits, and if you do the math on that, it would take literally about, I think he said, or like 2 years just to be able to get enough to upgrade Ultron. And what you really want is probably those 3,000, right, to be able to upgrade to get your 5 red star Doom. That's just stupid. Now, in fairness, you also do get, by the way, don't forget players, you also do get the opportunity to open up your basic red star orbs and then of course get those dark promotion credits, which you get to do that every 6 to 9 weeks because we are going to always put out a featured character in the orb. Yeah.
Yay! I mean, so I did the math with my wife yesterday, and after this event, this first time go, I've been saving dark promotion credits since basically they came out. I bought 1 red star for Ultron.
Yeah,
that's it. After this event is over with, I'm only gonna have like 2,400 dark promotion credits. I still have 600 to go.
Oh man. Yeah,
like,
I mean,
it feels a bad moment.
It definitely does. And we know Kate Bishop's going to go into that red star orb at some point in time, right? So there goes the opportunity to gain that boosted drop rate for your dark promo credit. So yeah, I think what we're saying is just that ultimately the juice is not worth the squeeze. The rewards aren't good enough. The G14, the G15 itself is becoming scarce, and it's just not great, right? And for endgame content right now, I mean, you probably would agree with this. Like, it's basically essentially G14 or bust, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, you're right. The ends don't justify the means. I was talking with another content creator last night about this. That an elite, so tier 7, every other month. The only way that it would make sense to waste gear on bad characters is if every other month you got an elite 7.
Yeah,
we have almost 190 characters in the game now.
Yeah,
it's not like you're going to be hurting the economy.
No, it wouldn't. I agree. So this one right now this is a kind of a loss right now, in my opinion. Knowhere Heist. And I think that they definitely should revisit the recurring rewards and really change those. Basically, where I'm at right now, I didn't level up my characters. I have G13 on Star-Lord and Rocket Raccoon, and that's pretty much where I'm going to leave them for the time being. I don't see where I'm not feeling rewarded enough for the investment that I'll have to put into this. So I'm kind of moving forward from there. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about, obviously, was this GameInformer article, and this one came out a couple days ago, and this was by Brian Shea. And like I said, man, a lot of really good stuff here that was mentioned. I will say that I like how we kind of started off the article, basically saying, like, listen, I've been playing this since beta. I've had a lot of fun with the game. I enjoy the game, love the game, which is where a lot of us are. Like, we love the game, but we just want it to be better, and we're kind of frustrated with where it is right now, and feel like there's just so much potential that's being lost by what they're doing in the game. So this kind of answers the questions of, hey, if you don't like the game, then stop playing. No, we like the game. We enjoy the game. It's just that we also don't think that they're treating their players accurately and in the best way that they possibly should. So we're going to talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, in the article, pretty much basically what he started off saying is that, like, in the very beginning, a lot of the content could be completed by sort of just doing like your day-to-day grind, right? And if you wanted to spend, you could spend, but you didn't necessarily have to. Spending would only essentially accelerate your process, but it wasn't necessary it wasn't necessary for you to be able to do so, and that there were some microtransactions that felt rewarding and valuable. And I remember, like me, I remember I wasn't really a spender, but the pandemic happened, and there were a lot of really good microtransactions, right? But he's pretty much basically talked about how everything now has gone to be in sort of like this macro transaction, that the purchases no longer feel luxury purchases, that essentially with a lot of these events now, in order for you to be able to get through them, it's almost impossible without having to spend money, and not just money, but like a crap ton of money. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. Look at the beginning of last year. When a new character came out, we had 99-cent orb offers, and people were pulling 180 shards out of those all the time.
Yeah,
those disappeared. Everybody bought those.
Yeah, for the $4.99 for 50 shards. I mean, there was a lot of offers that were out for that. I mean, we even had like a decent microtransaction offer, but then of course that got buggy, right? With the cores, we had like 3,000 cores for $5. That got buggy, but those are some good microtransaction offers. And I think like everything culminated. And by the way, if you guys haven't read the article, I'll link it down below. You definitely should read the article. I think everything is really kind of just kind of come all to an end, or I think we started to see more of just the way that they're treating the player base and the bad events with Thanos Given, and then even more so recently now with the Echo event, because I mean, dude, like there's just no way that free to play can feel good about having to grind through not being able to get a full 150 shards, and even if you were able to be able to spend money on it, you're only getting 150 shards, right? So it's still doesn't feel as rewarding. Like, what do you think about that?
It's not even just the fact that they're only getting 100 shards free to play. It's how many of these people are not going to be able to unlock her because her shards are so late. If they wanted to do that, put the 100 shards in the first like 8 milestones. True. Let small players grow.
Yeah, I agree with that, and especially being that it's a war defense character as well. I don't understand, and I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna say this, and maybe you don't agree with this, but it's my opinion. What I think most events, if not all events, in my personal opinion, should be free to play completable. I think that's what I think, right?
Absolutely, that was another complaint. Is all milestones should be completable. Anything above the milestone for like the ranking, that's pay to play.
Right. Like that's the portion where it's like, because this is my thought. This is the reason why I feel this way. The spenders are going to spend anyway, right? That doesn't matter. Like the spenders are going to spend regardless. So if they're able to complete all the milestones as well, they're still going to probably spend money if you give them the opportunity to get through the milestones faster, because they don't want to have to grind through the milestones, right? So they're gonna spend the money to get through the milestones. And if they want the character shards, you're gonna spend the money to get the extra character shards. The Krakens are gonna buy all the offers, all the character offers. The whales are gonna buy most of the character offers, right? They might buy 2 of the character offers. They're gonna do it anyway. So why then punish the free to play players with not being able to complete the milestones? Because you're trying to milk the Krakens and the whales. They're going to spend regardless. They're going to spend to get ahead. So I just don't think it's really kind of fair to the rest of your community and your player base, in my opinion.
Yeah, and so this is the first milestone event that I can remember. Maybe I'm wrong, but the first one that's had a major like ranking system out of it, where okay, here's the milestones, and then you have an Elite 6, you have Teal Elite orbs. You've got, I mean, so make all of the milestones completable by your entire player base. You're not hurting anybody. Right. And then like you said, spenders are going to spend, whales are going to whale. It's right. The way of the game. And they're going to push to get a 6 Red Star Echo for quote unquote free. Right. You know, you're hurting the player. You're hurting the small to mid game player base.
Yeah, it's like you're trying to milk the whales and the Krakens, but in the process, you're also hurting the smaller guys who are the Dolphins or the light spenders or just in general free to play. And and I will say this too, like I feel like all characters should be 4-star unlockable for free to play. I honestly believe that, because if you're worried about, hey, them going to be able, players being able to get a legendary unlock on first pass, they still have to get an additional 130 shards, right? So it's still gonna be a while before they can do that. But I don't see why 4 stars breaks the game, in my opinion. I don't think it does.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, so I guess one thing we could talk about, I mean, where do you think this transitioning here, or thinking about this, where do you think the game is right now? Like, what do you think the state of the game is in Marvel Strike Force? Like, what are your overall thoughts on that?
For me, I feel like the game is in a place right now where it's teetering.
Yeah.
Like it's borderline, fun versus playable.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, you've got, like, for those of us that are, up on that end game content, DD5 and Doom raids, so much is gated behind either working as an alliance and you rely on somebody else to get your rewards, or look at all this gear that's not available in the game. DD5 has been beaten now, what, 2 months?
Yeah, it's like 30 players, right?
Yeah, and they have still gated Origin gear. Yeah. Why haven't we gotten Origin, the extra Origin challenges on your daily pieces? Why haven't we gotten extra Origin challenges? Yeah. Why haven't we gotten, something to be able to progress easier?
Right.
Dormammu's not the gate anymore.
Yeah, I would agree. I definitely would agree with that, and I agree with your sentiment as well. Like, the game is kind of like in a place where it's playable. Like, we're still finding a way to have fun. There is. I feel like there should be more content that's available. I think that there are certain things in the game that probably can take a back burner. Like, I would like a full-on sim of Blitz, and then to replace that with something that's a little bit more fun. Like, even if it's like Avengers Tower on a weekly basis, or if it's something like, Pocket Dimension a little bit more frequently, or eventually Grand Tournament. That's a little bit of my concern too, is whenever they bring out these new game modes, what happens to these older game modes that are kind of antiquated? We don't really need to play them anymore, or they're just not fun to play anymore. So I would like to see them make some changes there. But you're right, like, I still enjoy the game. I have fun with it, but I feel like it's in a large slump right now, and a lot of it is because it's not very free to play friendly. Everything seems really grindy. The game is expensive within itself. Character offers are $50. You have Battle Pass and a Strike Pass, which is something that he mentioned in this article, that are $20 each. And in my opinion, largely still skippable, right? Because they're not really giving you a lot of resources in those game modes anyways. For instance, the Battle Pass, you're only getting Origin gear, and it's not a lot of Origin gear, even if you spend the $20. And I don't know, I'm at that place now where, like, I'm still enjoying the game, but I just want to see them make a lot of changes. Free to play, I feel like, is not very free to play, not free to play, but the beginner game is way too grindy, and it's not capturing their attention enough to keep them engaged in the game. So there's not enough catch-up mechanics. So I feel like there's certain things that they could do to kind of make some change. Like, what would you say are some changes that they could make to the game, teal gear, early game? Like, what are some of the changes that you think that they could make that would fix the game or recover this game from where it is right now?
Ooh, that's a dangerous question. I mean, it is. So one of the big issues that this game has is growth.
Yeah.
Are you bringing in enough early game players to be able to continue to get your game going?
And are you keeping them too? Are you keeping them if you're bringing them in,
Yeah, I mean, I hate to bring another game in, but Swuggo did it very well. Sure, their catch-up mechanic was expensive at first, but it got you to immediate mid-game content right away. It unlocked... I mean, it gave you all the characters you needed to unlock, like 4 or 5 legendaries. Gave you all the gear, took you from level 1 to level 85 the second you bought it.
Yeah.
If I'm a new player and I come into Marvel Strike Force, there's no way for me to catch up quickly. There's no way for me to get ahead of other people. That I am a whale and I spend money, If there's no way for me to go from A to B without hitting a bunch of roadblocks, I'm not going to spend money.
Yeah, that's very true. You're right. Like, and I've said this before, like content is gated behind level 70. You can't get to, and yeah, a pack with that. And I remember there was the gentleman that was on Valley's interview, and I forgot what his name was, but the creative director mentioned that, hey, I mean, that's an expensive way to advance players, but I do think that if you're looking at profitability, that is one way to do it. I still feel like there is still a way that you have to try to catch up your free-to-play players as well, which I don't know exactly how to solve that per se, but yeah, that is a beginner mechanic that I would like to see them see. Now, in regards to the end game content, like, what do you think that they need to do to fix the game at the end game level or mid game level?
So I'll start with mid game. Taco Shooter and I talk about it every Saturday when we do our Men on Marvel thing for offer review.
Yeah.
At the bottom of all of the offers, you've got the 125 blue ability mats.
Yeah.
For like 700 cores, and then like 100 tier 3 ability mats for 1,000 cores. Those should be free daily.
Okay.
Are you hurting the sales? No.
Not
Are
really,
people
no.
really buying that? No. So if you have an early Kraken come in and jump straight into like Doom raids, now they have this tier 2, tier 3 ability mat crunch that they can't solve.
Right. And that's a big deal. I hear that complaint a lot. So yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, so you get it every single day. You're not hurting the game. You're not hurting the economy. Sure, people will end up with a couple 100,000 of them, but it gives you a way to bring up, new spenders or people who are in a bad alliance that they want to jump into, more end game content.
Yeah.
It gives them the ability to get that without a fear of missing out, of what they need in the game. So that would be like the mid game change.
Yeah.
For the end game change, they need to bring out a gold orb too. They're bringing out alpha orb 2, beta orb 2, with all these different pieces in it.
Even legacy orb, right? Like the new legacy orb that they just introduced.
Yeah, legacy orb. So all these people have gold orbs hoarded up. Okay, cool. Make a gold orb 2 with a minimum of 400,000 in there per orb.
Okay.
And because I open 10x gold orbs and get them and barely get 1 million gold. That's a feels bad moment.
That's insane. Oh man, I got a few thoughts myself, right? I mean, I think that one of the things that they could do is, in regards to like the mid game, I talked about free to play already. I for early game, I think that's something that they can explore. I think maybe changing the content and not let it be gated by level 70. Increase some of the resources that you're getting at the beginner game level. Putting those more in the earlier campaigns, like resources there, like your T2s. I honestly think this is something that they should do as well. I don't see why whenever you start a new raid or they introduce a new raid that they cut off the resources that you were getting from the previous raid. That's never made any sense to me. I feel like all the resources that you're getting from the previous raids should continue as you progress to these new raids, because that would also help out with some of the bottlenecks, like T2 bottlenecks, T3 bottlenecks. I feel like that would help out tremendously if they continue to have T2s, T3s, T4s as something in the game that as you continue to progress through different raids. I also think too that they probably should implement a system where you can trade your T2s and use those to make T3s and T3s to T4s. That's something that they should also implement as well. But they would also have to continue to allow you to get resources when in those higher raids, right? They should not cut off the previous resources. But I think overall it's resources, right? A lot of us are not getting enough resources in the game. There's not enough gold, really. There's not enough the teal gear, G14s, G15s. There's a lot of that's not going on right now. So I think they need to stop being so very stingy with a lot of the resources that they're kind of bottlenecking right now. I talked about making all the events free to play completable. If players are willing to grind, let them grind to be able to get that 4-star character. I feel that that's free to play players understand that they need to grind anyways. Allow them to have the opportunity to grind to be able to complete those milestones at the free to play level. I think all characters that get released should be a minimum of 4 stars. And free to play accessible for most players who are willing to grind to get those characters at that free to play point. And I think that they really should consider bringing back some of those microtransactions where players can start to feel rewarded for spending money in the game if they want to. But those are kind of some of the initial thoughts that I have. I probably need some more time to think about, hey, what else can they probably add to the game? But I know that resource bottlenecks are one of the biggest ones right now. The massive expectation to spend money to be able to complete events is a massive frustration point. And also character farmability, that takes too long as well. And we can even add in there, Omega Red, where the hell is he at? Right? I mean, it's been way too long. They need to increase the availability of characters in Marvel Strike Force as well, in my opinion.
So, yeah. I mean, God. I mean, there's things, right?
Yeah.
And so as you were saying that, like, I agree. You should never be gated by your previous raid.
Yep.
Right. So why should I go from doing like Doom 2 or Doom 2.3 where I run out of gold gear?
Yeah.
And now I have to drop back to Doom 1 so I can go get orange raid orbs?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense at all. But yeah, there's probably more that we can explore and talk about a little bit here. But we're gonna wrap it up. Valdris, appreciate you coming on the channel, man. Tell them where they can find you.
Hey, you can find me on twitch.tv/KingValdris, where we do amazing Marvel Strike Force content all the time. Goofy, I appreciate you doing the collab with me and let me share some of those mid to early late game thoughts and we got to get the frustration out.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we weren't salty in the video all as well. I mean, we're just taking an objective sort of look at the game. So I think it's fine to have these conversations, and I think it's good if Scopely kind of hears. Boundless kind of hears just sort of like where we are. Next time, by the way, I'll make sure that I reach out to you early enough so I can get your camera. I can get your camera in the video. But listen, man, appreciate you stopping by and sharing your thoughts on the channel here. Make sure that you guys follow Valdris. I'm going to leave the links down below for his YouTube channel as well as his Twitch page. Well, I think you still do YouTube, so we'll leave that down below as well. And yeah, listen, guys, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the state of the game right now. What are your thoughts on Knowhere Heist? How do you feel about the events? What do you think also as well could be things that they can do to fix the game? I feel like one of the things is definitely they should probably acknowledge that they need to fix the game as well. But listen, until next time, leave it in the comments. Want to hear what you guys have to say. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, y'all be blessed.
And y'all be safe.
Y'all be safe.